lovely people. Welcome to our weekly reading for the week of the 10th of October. It's so lovely to be back here with you again, and I'm really intrigued to see what the cards have to say to us this week. Let's have a look. I do actually love the shuffling process, I'm not going to lie. Okay, so let's just see. Right, let's have a look and see what they have to tell us. So we have the Two of Pentacles, we have the Eight of Wands, and we have the King of Wands. Okay, so that's really quite interesting. If you remember from last week's reading, we had three major arcana cards. Now, major arcana cards, they describe the spiritual causes of everyday events. Whereas the minor arcana cards, they detail everyday happenings. So while the minor arcana cards might tell you the problem in your day-to-day life, the major arcana cards, they will tell you the underlying lesson to be learned in that situation. And last week we had three major arcana cards, which is really quite huge to have three cards, major arcanas in a reading. So we had the Chariot, which is about risks. The Chariot is about stepping forward. It's about having courage in the face of uncertainty. And then we had the Fool, which is the archetype for freedom and humor. And it's the Fool is about being not being afraid of being laughed at. It's about begin now and the momentum will follow. It's sort of saying start now and be spontaneous, sort of abandon your self-consciousness. So that would be the Fool. That was the second card that came up. And then the third card that came up last week was the Moon, which is very much about the subconscious level. It's about letting go of negative self-talk, and it's about trusting your intuition. So it's about, saying the Moon is telling you to be careful about when you're making decisions, that you have all of the information that you need. So those were the cards for last week. Now this week we have two minor arcana cards, and we have the Court card. So the first minor arcana card here, as you can see, is the Two of Pentacles. Now, the Two of Pentacles is very much, it's an earth card. It's a card about being grounded. It's very much about your resources. It's about money, material possessions. It's about wealth. It's also about charity, and it's also can be a very spiritual card. And if you look at this card is, you've got a juggler here. And the juggler is looking rather light-hearted, actually. So it's not a very heavy card. And but if you have a good look at it, you can see that there's actually quite a lot of movement here in this card. So you have the sea that's a movement, and there's quite a lot of movement down here at the bottom, and there's the ships going up and down. Now, the ships, they are symbols for enterprise. They're symbols for your possessions. And they're also about moving away from emotional troubles and maybe going in a different direction of your life. And the sea, in this case, it's very much about the ups and downs, about the ebb and flow. So water, the sea can be calm and it can be stormy, and in this case it's kind of like the ups and downs, very much about the way our lives go. And also water is a symbol very much about washing away, especially kind of like washing away that of which we don't need anymore. So it would be washing away old memories that no longer serve us, or experiences that no longer serve us, or even incidents that no longer serve us. So there's very much about this. When you do that, there is you're able to move on with your life, and that's really kind of about rebirth, being reborn. So this is a very interesting card to start off with, because everything in this card is movement. There's a lot of movement in this card, and there is like, there's this going up and down. So nothing is kind of being grounded or stable, which actually what Pentacles are about, because Pentacles are very much an earth bound element. The Pentacles is about being grounded, and it's so when with this card, when you have that sea behind you, it's kind of telling you that everything is in flux. So this juggler is having to keep projects kind of aloft and maintain balance in the process of his resources. So the number 2 also is about making choices. It's about decisions and balance. So you can see with this card, this guy is having to make decisions, and they're both kind of equal value. So it's he's having to make choices and make decisions about kind of where to go next, because if there's too many things on the burner, then you can't do everything at the same time. So you have to choose your priorities, and that's really what this card is about. And that does kind of follow, if you think about the Chariot, taking risks, stepping forward, going into the future, an uncertain future. And the Fool is kind of a little bit like this card as well, because it's about fun, it's about excitement, it's about letting go. So this is and then you have the Moon from last week as well, which is very much about, make sure you have all the information before you make your decisions. So this card is really following on from the Fool, from the Moon. It's telling you that you have all the information now, and you need to make your decisions. You need to carefully decide and to balance what it is you need in order to go forward. Now, if you then follow that card, the 2 of Pentacles with the 8 of Wands, that's really, really interesting, because the 8 of Wands is a really, really powerful energy. It's really kind of like pure energy, because there are no people in this card, and it's very much about pure energy. And if you look at the way these wands are going, they're angled towards the ground, but you can see that they're going with some force. So the fact that they're being angled towards the ground is saying that you will soon find stability, and the stability is associated with the number 8. Now, stability is also associated with the number 4. So if you double the number 4, you get the number 8. So we are really looking at stability here. But the number 8 is also about taking on too many projects, because the Wands, the Wands element is very much about, it's a fire. Sorry, the Wand suit is the fire element, and the fire element is all about movement. It's about swiftness. It's about energy and will and passion and inspiration, and it's about initiation and enthusiasm. So the Wands are the kind of people who are Wands. They tend to be fiery. They take on too many projects because each is so exciting, and they don't want to consider the sort of practical limitations. Now, I'm not going to lie to you here, because I completely identify with this card. I would consider myself to possibly be a Wands type of character. There are so many things that I'm passionate about, and I just feel like sometimes I don't have enough hours in the day to do everything that I want to do, and everything that I want to do is stuff that I love. So I'm really, really lucky like that. But I really have to, I have to really consider how I'm going to get everything done that I love to do in a day, and there just aren't enough hours. So this card kind of speaks to me, because this card is sort of telling me that I do need to consider the practical limitations, and prioritize, really would be the kind of word I would use here, especially when we're looking at the Two of Pentacles, because the Two of Pentacles is about making decisions, and to make decisions you have to prioritize. So this card is about movement, you can see that. It's about swiftness, and it's heading towards stability. This card is about an ongoing situation that's coming to a conclusion, and a positive resolution. So when this card is coming up in a reading, and especially after this one, it's saying be prepared for things to move fast, and because things are flowing towards, towards the ultimate manifestation. So don't allow yourself to be confused by this sudden rush of energy, because that's really what the wands are about. They are about enthusiasm and will and passion. Now, if you also look at this card, you have a lot of greenery down here at the bottom, and greenery is about vitality. It's also about prosperity and abundance and renewal. So this is, these cards are fabulous together. And then again, interestingly, we have the King of Wands at this is our third card. Now, the King of Wands is a court card, and court cards can either be yourself, it can be aspects of yourself, or the court card can be somebody that's close to you in some way that is influential to you or for you. So the King of Wands is the King of Wands is the 14th card of a suit, or can be regarded as the 14th card of a suit. And the number 14, when it's reduced, it becomes 5. And the number 5 is about it's about freedom, and it's about energy, and the number 5 is about change. So the King of Wands is also this particular king, because all the kings are different. So in each different suit, they're different. So the King of Wands they exudes great confidence. And if you look at the way this king is sitting, this king is not lying back in a redolent sort of, casual sort of way. This king is sitting upright. This king is ready for action. Now, generally speaking, kings are there to give advice maybe, or to just be there for their subjects, but they're not really there to take action. And so there's a little bit of a sort of a contradictory role with this particular king, because this king is ready for action. And so kings in general, they tend to be experts. They tend to be figures of authority. They're responsible. They're responsible towards their social responsibilities or their civic duties. And they're very much about leadership. And this king is bold. This king is energetic. This king is charismatic and optimistic and confident. And this particular king is a leader who can jump in as if they're in control. Now, the only issue really with this king is that because this king exudes so much confidence, that can slide into arrogance. And it can particularly slide into arrogance around people who may not be as powerful or self-assured. So it's really important that this king is, needs to know and be able to show respect. It's very much about acting with courage and conviction in order to control your destiny. So this king has no kind of ill will towards anybody. It's just a very powerful energy. Now, one of the things I find really interesting about these cards together is that this card is saying, here you have your choices and decisions need to be made. because there's, you know, lots of things going on, and in order to go forward, the priorities have to be met. This is happening with great momentum. So, and it's interesting, if you go back to last week, the fool said, if you start now, be spontaneous, and if you begin now, momentum will follow, and definitely the momentum is following here. But what I love is that it's followed then by the King of Wands. And if you look at the direction of these cards going, I mean, they're going at some speed in a direction towards the ground, towards stability. And then the king is standing there with a wand just plunked into the ground. It's almost as if the king is saying, right, okay, right now, we got it. We got it. You don't need to keep going. We're there. We are there. But now that we're there, we have to act with courage, and we have to act with conviction, because it's only in this way can we take control of our destiny. I don't know if you've ever had that in your life, but certainly I have. I know that there's been times when I really identify with this whole Wands energy. And there have been many times in my life when I have been the king in these situations, where I have grabbed that wand and stuck it into the ground, and had the confidence and courage of my convictions, if you like, and progressed in that manner. So it's really, really fascinating the way that these are all following each other. And the colours that you have here with the king, it's very much, you've got the red, which is about vitality and passion and action, a little bit of danger, because when you go into the unknown and when you're following your convictions, there is a bit of a sense of danger there. But he's got a yellow crown, and the yellow crown is about intelligence, it's about clarity, it's about creativity. So, and there's green in there, which is about vitality and prosperity and abundance and renewal. So my question really to you would be here, I mean, these two cards are fairly self-evident, but the king, is the king you? Are you the king in this scenario? Or is this king somebody in your close circle that you can turn to for advice and guidance? That's really, really the question I'm asking you this week. I tend to be the king in these situations, and that's how I tend to go. But having said that, there have been plenty of kings in my life that have guided me. So lovely people, this was our reading for this week. And if it resonates with you in any way, do please leave me a comment below. You can subscribe to this channel to be notified of the next reading. And if you would like to know more, you can book a private reading with me. I would love to hear from you. You can find my email address in the description below this video. So it's been so delightful, so lovely to be here with you this week. And I look forward to chatting with you again next week. In the meantime, lots of love. Take care.